Antoine is going to be crowned your WOR Season 10 champion.
And history's been made. Ballina, the first WOR PS4 champion. What a championship! What a season! Absolutely phenomenal!
Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to WOR Season 11, Round 3. We're here at China for the Shanghai International Circuit. We've got 28 laps of a track that cost £132 billion to build, 3.38 miles long with 16 corners. I am joined this week with, well, I'm joined by Beacon with me this week. Bradley, welcome back to WOR. I know you had a birthday last week, so happy birthday. I'll get that one out there now. I know I said happy birthday earlier on, but anyway, welcome back, and how are you feeling for this one?
Yeah, thank you. It's brilliant to be back. I really did miss it last week, but yeah, back in the common spot. And this is going to be a really exciting race because, well, it's China. We've got some lovely long straights, potentially a DRS train or two, but that does normally breed a bit of desperation in the drivers. So we could see something a little bit special or a little bit chaotic. So, you know, let's give a little hint of both. And I think we should be in for a pretty good race.
I'm really looking forward to it. It's one of my favourites on the calendar. I know there's a few people out there that don't like it too much, but we will break down into it very soon, I am sure. Previous winners here then are VSR Thomas, or VSR twice, last two times it was raced here at WOR. That's how dominant he's been. But let's take a quick look at the standings, and I know you've got them to hand as well, but to manage to extend your championship lead by finishing third, Ron has done a phenomenal job, hasn't he?
Yeah, absolutely. And it just really shows how open this grid is and how we could be in for any result. There's not really a shock result yet because all of the drivers are at such a high level that, again, like you say, coming third place and still extending your championship lead, it's not half bad, is it? So, yeah, it'll be really good to see. And to be fair, we could have a completely different winner again today. It would not surprise me at all. But yeah, so it'll be interesting as we head into quali because we have got a couple of different options for strategy here as well. Be interested to see if people start on the medium or the soft tires. But we saw, especially the first race. Yeah, I'm gonna be honest, I didn't quite follow quali from the other race, but I think it's such a close grid that we do have the issue of if you want to start on the mediums and try the alternate strategy, you're probably going to have to sacrifice your qualifying and start outside the top 10. We've seen drivers sort of amble about on a soft run at the end and just maybe considering putting in another lap if they end up around 16th, 17th or so. But I think anywhere between 11th and 15th, you're going to go, yeah, all right, we can accept this. Start on the mediums, do the alternate strategy, could go really well. But yeah, I think it's a hard ask to see maybe anyone apart from the top 1 or 2 drivers qualifying on those mediums inside the top 10. So yeah, it's pretty fun and it's a really good track as well. So hopefully a lot of really good battles and a lot of variation. Hopefully no safety cars coming out at the wrong time to just stagnate the whole battle.
Well, safety cars can be a massive, massive pain in the backside for a lot of people. It messes up strategy, but it also sometimes gives us something a little bit special as well. Shadow looking like, well, he's out first to try and set what has been an absolute dominant qualifying performance for Shadow. He's been absolutely phenomenal in that respect. Quick few driver changes throughout. Let's go through them. McLaren replacing TRL Martin by AMS Playkey for this week's race. We've got to go faster in the Haas being replaced by Logic. FRA Wilson replaces Matthew Rees in the Mercedes and Mulder in the Williams instead of a WOR Raceway. So a few changes this week, and I believe Chile is not here due to unforeseen circumstances his end. He's all fine. It's just the vehicle he's on. So it's a good thing that he's not broken down in this one. Anyway, in the chat, you guys, who do you think is going to come and claim pole here at Shanghai? It's a really quick one as Shadow goes down. And while I've asked them, I'm going to ask for your expert opinion as well, because it's a lot better than mine.
Oh, what part? Sorry, I was fiddling with the chat.
Who's going to take pole?
Okay, who's going to take pole? Right, okay, yeah, I can do that. I don't know, I mean, looking around the grid, like we said just a moment ago, there's so many, top quality drivers. That's the whole concept of Tier 1, obviously. I love chucking in Ronha for a pole, because he's normally quite reliable for it, as long as he can get his lap together and has no issues. But equally, we've seen so many really quick drivers in quali so far. I want to go with Ronha. I'm going to say Ronha. I like him. He's my old faithful with a good qualifying bet.
I think there's a VRT Alfie being said in the chat for an early pole position shout. I mean, I was impressed with him at Bahrain. It's just unfortunate things on his side. Menzi couldn't, a Shadow loses it there and nearly bottles out, and maybe the pressure's finally getting to the qualifying man, but able to hold on for now and won't have much in the way of back end grip on this lap. Just to mention, I'm not sure if you're aware, Sparks receives a qualifying ban after an instant quali last week, so he will not be joining his Alfa Romeo teammate up the top end of the standings or in qualifying like we're used to so far this season.
Yeah, no, that's going to be a big hit in the race. Obviously, it's a nice track to overtake on. It's not too difficult in that sense. But obviously, when you've got an issue of having to actually make your way through the grid, let's put it this way, you're not going to be gaining time on the leaders. So I think by the time he's able to clear the people he'd normally be ahead of, he could be a little bit out of it and could be relying on a safety car for sure. But equally, he has a go on the alternative strategy. It's basically a free shot in that sense. So yeah, he'll be looking to give it a go. I think there's also Shadow running really wide at the last corner and wasn't invalidated for it. That's an odd one. Obviously, it wasn't the most rapid lap in the first place, but it's very weird.
Yeah, I think the back end. I don't think it mattered too much. I think there's no look at disqualifying his lap time like we've seen before. But let's go on board with Viper as he pops through the first sector. According to Codemasters, he's in purple. So it looks like a quick time for the McLaren driver as he darts now through turn 8 and into what I think is the trickiest part of the track, which is 9 and 10. To get that right, you have to be spot on. I know a lot of people don't like this section up here, which is the 11, 12 and 13. But, as I think Viper there loses it himself. So good old commentator's curse through that. I wonder if he'll be able to hold it through to make a good lap time out of this, as he seeming to be struggling a little bit at the moment.
Yeah, very much so. You say basically from the first bit, the turns 9 and 10. It's a really delicate corner. You have to get it very much right. It's a big traction zone as well, but you also have to be very careful on entry. If you run wide on entry, you can get stuck on the curb, which delays turning, destabilizes the rear. It's basically a whole it spirals out from there, and sometimes the car will literally spiral, and you could end up facing the wrong way. And then of course you've got the little snail section through there, leading on to the back straight. That's the 11, 12 and 13 as well. Basically, again, massive traction zone. You want to sort of hang around as close as you can to the right-hand side to make sure you just minimize the traveling distance, and it does tend to cut your lap time down a little bit. Only issue is, of course, you're really punishing the front end. So it's a little bit of a trade-off, and in the race you do tend to see drivers running a little bit wider just to make sure those fronts don't overheat.
As we just see,
no!
What? Oh, my bad luck for pit drivers are going on as WR Nico loses it out of the last corner. Big spin there for the Aston Martin driver. Let's go on board with his teammate and see how he handles it. And I was going to bring up the last corner to you just to see your thoughts on it, because obviously it's a big corner cutting possibility at this track.
Yeah, both on entry and exit. It's very tempting to just be a little bit greedy on the entry, take the inside of the curb, which you can't quite get away with. But then, of course, sometimes if you don't hit that curb right, spits you out wide, and you end up picking up a warning or invalidating your lap, especially in qualifying. So that is a big issue. It's something that we really do need to watch out for. And again, of course, when you get spat out by the curb, as we saw a little bit there, you can lose the rear end and you're gone. The interesting thing is, because we have so obviously such long straights here, the drivers are running very low wing levels, which, you know, through the corners can make it a little bit sketchy. And we are seeing at the moment so far some really loose rear ends of the car. Like the wheel spin they're getting on the exit at some of these corners is something to behold at the moment. Obviously, that does punish through the race. So, I mean, obviously, it's the right setup call for them. And if enough people are doing it, I think they're slightly more qualified than I am out there. But it does, you know, in theory, seem like you're going to be punishing the rears a little bit more than normal. But, yeah, it's interesting to see a bit of variation in setup. Some cars really do look a bit planted, and others are incredibly loose when you get down on the throttle.
Yeah, that's a lot of battling these drivers are going to have to go through here tonight. And, well, I'm looking at Square and Tribion. They're out on track at similar points at similar points in time. Do you think there's going to be a little bit of slipstream going down that back straight for a lot of these guys? Because that will gain you a fair few tenths, especially if you are going to be on that medium run.
Oh yeah, very much so. If you are giving it a go, I think for the top drivers, you're going to need, you're going to need, of course, medium tyres. You're going to need a really good lap up to that point, and then a lovely, not necessarily perfectly, but well executed slipstream down the back straight and down under the braking into the hairpin. Obviously, you're approaching, if you get a good slipstream, with a little bit extra speed than you might be used to. And we have seen before drivers outbraking themselves in slipstream, especially when DRS becomes a factor. And you can run a little bit deep, which then enables, obviously, a driver behind in a race to do the cutback. And then we get some brilliant racing into the final corner. And I think that could be a hot topic of debate at some point in this race, potentially, if a couple of cars do come to blows, which I wouldn't be too surprised by, because we do tend to see it.
I feel like I should get the boxing ring bell ready for the stream for whenever it happens. But we'll kick back that one for now and see how VRT Tribion handles through turn 6 as he powers down pretty early, not taking as much of the apex as he could have done there, and through 7. Again, not on the curb as much as previous games would have allowed you. So still a bit tentative through some of these corners. He darts into 9 and then 10, and then pushing his way into Sector 3 and Turn 11. I've just seen you leave the game. Are you back into it now?
I have at no point in this commentary so far been in the actual lobby properly, so I'm trying to fix this as we go.
Cool.
I'm trying to get the most I can from the stream.
Right.
So I'm sorting it out. I'm getting there.
I will do the best I can on this side then and try not to ask you too many questions just yet. As Trivion goes down the back straight into turn 14, the long straight that we've spoken about already for a few times, and he's not given his teammate any help on this lap just yet. So he rounds the hairpin, then 15, and then to the last corner, into 16 then. Cuts as much of the curb as possible, but I think he's gone a little bit too wide out of that corner and might cause a little bit of lost time, but it is quick still. It's a 1:31.431, and his teammates managed a 1:32.1, so a little bit of less time, but to be expected with being on the medium compound tyres. Let's have a look at Dark Killer, number 9, and he in the Alpine dropping down into the final straight. So the yellow flag's just a little bit ahead of this, as he's managing to hold on to pretty decent pace, but not many people so far using teams to slipstream at the moment. Ooh, a little bit of a lock up, but he managed to clip the apex absolutely perfectly through there. Shadow then takes pole by 0.4 of a second of WOR O'Connor. Still plenty of time to go. A little bit of a back end swerve by Dark Killer. Will he be able to improve on his lap time? He does not. It's a little bit lower than he would have wanted. Let's go on board with Burr Apson. We won't. He's going into the pits. What can Connor do as he rounds the final corner, taking as much of the curb as possible, and across the line, it's only just better, 1:30.7. Who else is out there? Is Wilson just about to finish his lap time? He is indeed, as he rounds the final corner, clipping as much of the curb as possible, as much as he dares as well. And across the line, it's up to P7, a little bit better than his previous lap time. Is that Matthew Reese? I thought Matthew Reese wasn't racing. Let's see, VRT Alfie, as he finally crosses the final corner. Again, a nice little apex clip there across the line for Alfie, and it's P7. He takes it off Wilson. Jonas is coming through a little bit early in the lap. Where's Shazoo Logic as he rounds the long turn 13, and Mulder leaves the session. There seems to be a little bit of a problem with the session as a whole tonight, but keep on throwing your predictions out there, guys. Who's going to get pole position in WRR Season 11 Round 3? Beacon, how's things your end as Shazoo Logic rounds the hairpin?
Yeah, we're just done a hard reset, so trying to get back in. But yeah, so far it's shaping up pretty well, I've got to say. Obviously, it's what you'd expect, everyone in that top 10 on the soft tyres. Square gave it a go. Not quite paying off for him at the moment. Of course, currently sits P2 in the championship, so he's had a brilliant start, all things considered. If he could, I'm sure if he could end P2 this season, he'd be more than happy. I think I'm having a little bit more luck with it now. I actually haven't got a black screen once I try to join, so this could be it. This could be...
Wonderful. Absolutely wonderful.
Anyway, for the world of good.
Into Ron Hart. You're doing a phenomenal job doing commentary from a stream, though. Fair play to you. But Ron Hart rounds the long turn 13 or 12 and 13, going down the back straight. No DRS assistance from his teammate LCR Leopard, but I'm guessing those two are more rivals than teammates, really, when you look down to it, as Ron Hart heads into the hairpin. How much of that apex will he cut? It's not as much as I would have thought, and a little bit of a back end squirm for Ron Hart. Not what he would have wanted at all. Over the curb, and a lot more curb than we've seen on that final corner, so maybe making up a few tenths than he's lost earlier on. Across the line for Ron Hart, and it was invalidated apparently. Oh no, it's just a couple of seconds late, and it's a 1:30.2. He was at turn 1 before that came up. That's a cracking lap time for the Red Bull driver, managing to displace Shadow so far. Mulder then back into the session with LCR Leopard just about to start his first and probably final run, and he's doing it on the medium compound tyre. This is going to be a make or break for the Red Bull driver if he wants to get into that top 10.
Yeah, it's very important at the moment, for sure. I'm trying to fix all of these issues at the moment. I'm giving it my best shot.
No worries, no worries. Just tell me if you ever, if you actually get back sorted. But let's go and see LCR Leopard then through turns 9 into turn 10. A little bit too much turning angle on that. And as he comes into sector 3, that's a nice little apex clip there. So that what he exactly would have wanted. And it's looking like a quick time for the mediums. Whether he's able to knock himself into the top 10 and give us a little bit of a surprise, which still remains to be seen. And no assistance from his teammate up above. He's still down just at the end of the straight. So unless Ronhar is doing another lap, which I don't think he would have done. A little bit of apex clip there, which is perfect for LCR Leopard. How will he do it? There's his teammate popping into the pit lane. No assistance at all. And a lot of curb clip there. No warning or anything. So he's good on that. And it's only P16. I thought that was a lot quicker than that looked. So let's go on board then with the Haas driver of PRS Burraps. The two Haas's look absolutely incredible at the moment. Battling alongside Aston Martin. And the engine sound on this is absolutely horrendous. I wonder if... Press start and back. I wonder if that'll fix it. No, it does not. Let's just do it from the broadcast angle as he crosses... Please fix that. As he crosses the sector 3 line. And... yeah, that engine sound for the Haas is absolutely horrendous. At the moment, Shadow is keeping out of it, but he's on an outlap, so he might be able to cause an upset to Ronhar in this. I don't think Ronhar is going to be coming back out. I don't think there's enough time. I can't see with the... yeah, there's not enough time for him to do another lap. Or is he going to be able to sneak it through? Cross the line for Burraps. And it's not quicker for the Haas driver. So let us go on board with Tribion. What can Tribion do as he darts through the first sector? And yeah, not looking good for yourself or Mulder at the moment to have a stable lobby, unfortunately. But Tribion looking pretty handy at the moment as he darts his way through and has a big chance at trying to get himself up into the massive heights of maybe Shadow and Connor. They're also on a lap further down, and Connor's actually had an absolute cracking start to the season, and it's purple in sector 2 for VRT Tribion. So he has got a lot of wind beneath his sails, and how much can he gain coming down the start? Well, the back straight, sorry, and I will get that mixed up. It's not the start finish straight at all, but Tribion down. DRS flap open, no assistance from his teammate, which we've seen for a lot of drivers. They are nowhere near each other on track, but into the hairpin. Nice and tight from the Alpha Tauri driver as he hits it through 15 as well. Very little extra wheel spin, cuts as much of the corner as possible, and he's taken a lot of corner with no invalidation. That's going to be good for him and the Alpha Tauri team. Where will that put him? It's not better at all. There's a few issues with the timing screen there, but let's go on board.
A bit off as well. It's okay though, because we have forced Mal now, so.
Connor then, what can he do? Shadow was not able to go quicker. Ronhar was not able to get back out on the lap in time, but it's the Williams driver of Connor. Can he steal the party? Can he do anything about Ronhar or Shadow? Coming into the final corner now for the Williams driver. He doesn't overcut it, which is nice, but it's not quick enough. It's a 1:30.5. Shizou Logic is only able to go to 1:30.7. What can Jonas do? He's been terrific so far this season. Actually, it's gone board with his teammate, WR Nico, and he slows on the line. So he doesn't want to go and use those tyres and hopes that he's going to get knocked out by maybe Square, who's across the line now. And Square does only go 13th. Jonas then, currently 9th. Will he get himself higher up the grid? Across the line for the Aston. And it's still only 9th. Oh, no, sorry, it's 4th. So 130.6 and Aston Martin Jonas into 4th place. And someone called it in the chat by 0.2 of a second. Ron Har was going to get pole. And, I mean, your prediction was correct.
I got my one for him on pole, but yeah, 0.2, that's quite impressive. That's fair play on that one.
I'm just going to see the incidents because apparently there was a grid penalty for Ron Har.
Oh, righty. Oh, that's an interesting one.
So that's an interesting one. Grid penalty for the championship leader and provisional pole sitter, but it looks like it's not going to be anymore. And Shadow claims another pole. If that's the case, it is 5 seconds to Ron Har, so he starts technically on pole with Shadow in second and third for WOR Connor, and alongside him on the second row of the grid is Jonas. Logic in 5th place with Burraps in 6th. 7th goes to VRT Alfie, and alongside him on the grid is Dark Killer with Clenzo in 9th, and 10th going to the Aston Martin of WR Nico. 11th is FRA Wilson with Luca in 12th. 13th for Square and VRT Tribion in 14th. Matthew Reese in 15th. 16th is Viper. 17th is LCR Leopard. 18th is Sparks. And 19th is Mulder. And I believe Chile managed to join into that just in time. How's things your end on the game?
I'm trying on a different account to see if it works. But yeah, I know there's also 3 other drivers who are having the exact same issue. So, I mean, it's nice to know it's not my fault, but, you know, not ideal. And yeah, error failed to join session. Fantastic. That's brilliant. But yeah, no, it's a really good qualifying session. And it's one of those things as well. We couldn't quite actually. Clenzo did well to get himself in P9. That's a really good qualifying for himself. But yeah, so everyone in the top 10 starting on those soft tyres. I think it will be no surprise at all to see the drivers outside the top 10 starting on the mediums, and maybe even 1 or 2 gambling on the hards. That would be quite interesting to see. And maybe give it a Hamilton go, try to be a little bit faster at the end, hopefully with slightly better results after pitting for the first time. But yeah, they'll be really, really good to see. I'm just going to keep trying to join and get visual. But yeah, I'll... yeah.
You've got to love what we've got, and we can't be bad workmen by blaming the tools that we have, but let's see how it all pans out. Nice little conundrum we've got on our hands. There's some quick drivers who weren't able to make it all pay there, and I wonder if they're maybe kicking themselves. Maybe the teams as a whole, they're thinking maybe we should have trusted one another to get themselves through. They're readied up already, and I think you're right. There might be a few people out there that will risk a hard setup, and you never know. It might work perfectly for them. Quick question for you two, or for you, as well as the chat. Who's going to win this race at China at the Shanghai International Circuit?
That's a fun one. That is a very fun one. Obviously, Ron Har's got that penalty, so he's got a lot of work to do in overtaking some very quick drivers at the same time. He could struggle. I want to see the tires first. I'm gonna take the cop out. I will.
So,
yeah.
3 drivers on the hard compound tires, and they're the 2 of them are the ones that I thought definitely would go for hard, and that's Viper and Mulder. I thought they would definitely be hard runners. But we got Connor.
Mulder's might be his AI though. I'm not sure if that's actually him, because I think he's got the same issue.
Oh no, that is probably right.
Yeah, me, Boots, and Mulder are all currently. Oh, and Chili's stuck on a black screen too now.
Things you love to see.
This is very good.
Well, this is going to be a fun one. I mean, there's Jonas Connor being shouted out in the chat.
Yeah, I'd like to see Jonas. That'd be a good one. I'd like to see that.
I don't know. Ron Har's incredible. I love his pace around. I love his pace around Japan and Bahrain, and here he's looking really, really good. I'd like to see Alfie do well as well, but I'm gonna go with Connor. I think Connor might hit it well. I'm gonna follow F1 enjoyer type in the chat. So yeah, We'll have to
Yeah, I
wait
can't
and
even
see.
get to the black screen now. So, could you stream it on the Discord call? Would that work? I don't know if that's possible. But
I don't know if I can do that through.
even if it's like well, whatever you're using to stream, I can zoom in with.
I will
I can't even
try.
commentate the black screen now. That's gone. I've lost my black screen. Yeah, Chili's. Yeah, thank you, Chili.
Let's see if that works for you. Hopefully it will. Hopefully it will. I've just seen the message from.
That's brilliant. Yeah, that's perfect.
Yeah.
Yeah, Chili sent in a picture of what we can all see, just a black screen that's loading. But yeah, let's get on with it. I'll hand you over before the start because I might be a little bit more delayed.
Fantastic then. Right, Jonas. Well, I think, as I say Jonas, everyone is lining themselves up on the grid. In third, there is Jonas. We're going to keep a quick eye on him and Shizu Logic and maybe even WR Connor as we wait for the lights here in Shanghai. We're up to 5 and away we go. And Jonas has a really good start. He's the only one that has started. So there is a lobby glitch there. And everyone behind has had to wait for that. Connor then taking the lead from Shadow, and there is Logic trying to get himself up there as well. Some Burraps is dropped back down a little bit, and Alfie is up into 4th place, and a cracking start for the Alpine driver ahead of both the Hasses at the moment. Connor leading the second train away as Jonas has already got a 2.2 second lead. Ronhard down to 9th place, so this is very, very similar to what we experienced at Bahrain, and here he is trying to get up the inside of WR Nico, and he has done with Dark Killer just ahead. I'm not sure what you can picture from everything that's going on my screen as well, so I hope there's a little bit for you there, Bradley. But here's Alfie, having a look up at Connor after he's lost the position to Shadow.
Yeah, absolutely. It's been a good start for him, but yeah, losing out at the start. It's not ideal, but he is right on the tail now. It's been great for Jonas because, well, he had a bit of an inverse of what we saw at Bahrain, where some people were held back. He was let go way too early here. So Jonas, I mean, I don't know where the rules stand on that one. I mean, should he drive back into, I think it was P3? Should he, I mean, I'm not quite sure whether, I don't think the rules anticipated someone being allowed to start 3 seconds earlier than everyone else, but, that'll be he'll try to argue his cause on that one, I think, because at the moment he's not gonna take away this lead, is he? He's enjoying it. But yes, it's a really good fight behind. Connor's really trying to put a lot of pressure on Shadow at the moment, which is quite interesting. I mean, Shadow, maybe his race pace, he hasn't got a slipstream or DRS when it comes round, but I do fear there's not a lot of gaps coming out at the moment, that Shadow could be in a little bit of trouble the first time we come to the back straight, especially if he has to use a little bit more ERS than the likes of Connor, Alfie, Logic, even Burraps and Ronha are having to use, because I mean, just look how close everyone is at the moment. There's not a second gap separating, so at the moment we have got most of the grid who's going to have DRS the next time we head around the back straight.
And here comes Ronhard trying to put the moves on Burraps, but not on this occasion. He tried a very audacious move around the outside and nearly worked for the Red Bull driver there. Absolutely phenomenal stuff. And he's giving Burraps all the attention at the moment. Logic ahead is trying to get past Alfie as well. So we've got a nice little battle forming throughout, and they're all still in a line. So they've got to make sure they don't get themselves caught up, or otherwise, they're going to lose a lot of positions. And there's already dropping off at the back there. I'm not sure what's happened between Trivion Square and Mulder. Obviously, Mulder's car is the AI, but Sparks is definitely not 1 second 35 ahead of Luca when he's behind him on track. So I'm not really sure what's going on there. As here comes Ronhard then up into the hairpin and taking P6 away from the Haas driver. And Willie tries to switch back on Ronhard, but he does not succeed. And now Ronhard has Logic in his sights. Jonas, the fastest man on track, which is kind of understandable, as Viati Alfie now having a look at Connor. So the Alpine versus the Williams against Shadow's Alpha at the moment. This is looking incredible at the front of the train, with Jonas just ahead.
Yeah, at the moment it's looking great for Jonas because, of course, he's got some clean air. He's under no pressure from the drivers behind at the moment. He can just drive to his pace, get in the rhythm, and just make the most of it because this is an advantage that isn't going to come that often. So now, Shadow, he's got to try to lose as little time as possible battling with Connor, Alfie, Logic, Ronha, because all of them are going to be right on his tail and biting for that P2. And that's a big mistake as well for Logic as off he goes. And he's going to drop down. I think maybe he does just stay ahead of Dark for the moment, just about. But that was very close and very Larry. And I think that's a case of drivers, probably going to get a little bit of overheating in the tyres. They're running the cars very light on the wings so that they have the straight line speed down the straight. And it does make the car a little bit sensitive through those fast corners. Quick change of direction. Car's not going to like it.
Alfie's looking at that Williams again. And it just seemed like as soon as I went on to Logic, he lost complete control. Would be for the first time, so we'll have to wait and see. Will he dart up the inside? It does not go for Alfie this time round, but he's got some incredible pace at the moment, looking like it's working his way, with Shadow holding up Connor and Alfie chasing it through. We could saying Jonas has had obviously the best of things at the moment. As will Alfie make the move? He does not, but he's not. He's pulling away from this battle, and Shadow's not really having to defend much from Connor, so he's technically there on merit as well.
Yeah, I think at the moment he's doing pretty well with it. But yeah, it's just now we've just got to see. Yeah, of course he skipped on the stage of having to do the overtakes, but it's going well for himself. He's got the pace definitely. And Shadow, he's basically just got to try to keep his eyes forward, try to close in on Jonas. But Connor, he's just got to want to try to stay as close as he can to the back of that Alfa Romeo, because DRS, of course, is available to him where it's not for Shadow. And after a couple of laps at ERS for Shadow, I think it's going to be running a little bit dry if he has to keep defending from Connor. In fact, on this track, if you're having to use it down the back straight, it's going to be gone after maybe 2 or 3 laps. You're not going to be able to use it as much as you could, especially at the start of the race.
Yeah, it's not what you would have wanted at all. And something else you do not want is Ronha steaming down the back of your neck like Alfie's got at the moment, but at least he's got Connor for company just ahead. But Connor also having the DRS from Shadow ahead. And so Shadow's got some really good pace to keep ahead. And Alfie losing a lot. And there's a contact there between him and Ronha. And I was on board with Alfie as they were going into the hairpin, so I saw the lose of traction for Alfie, and that is gutting for the Alpine driver.
Very much so, and that's something that probably will see again. It's very easily done, especially if someone's going for a move behind as well, and it can just tap the rear end, cause a little bit of contact, and Alfie just having no grip on the exit whatsoever, and then of course being sent around as well. But he's able to recover. Well, he's not recovered, but he's able to come back on track without losing too many places. He's still in an okay situation, wouldn't have had any lasting damage from it, so it's not race over, but it's definitely a big dent in the road for him to try to overcome now, as Logic is trying to get his P6 back as well from Buraps. He's trying to get close enough, but again, it's proving quite difficult to overtake. Dirty air isn't as much of a thing as it is in real life, but there is definitely some at play in this game, and you can feel the front getting a little bit light. Maybe can't take as tight a line as you normally would, so you just have to feather out the throttle just a little bit. But if you can approach a driver at the right point, get a good enough exit, the chance is definitely there. What's happened to Dark? It looks like he's out the race as well.
I tried to quickly get on board with him, but it just wasn't to be, unfortunately, on that one. So
it looks like he's lost it somewhere, definitely. On the
it looks like
exit
he's retired on track.
Yeah. Well, no, he definitely has. I'm just not sure what the reason for it was.
Turn 9, maybe just losing it out. Maybe there was an incident there. We'll have to wait and see. I'm sure he'll let us know in any of the chats that we're involved in here at WOR. Connor, everyone into the pits. Well, that's a little bit of a exaggeration from my point of view. Shadow into the pits along with WR, Connor and a few others now, and Ronha has got 4.5 second gap to Jonas. Jonas is happy to stay out for the time being, but the medium run of Sparks up into 5th. The guy who had a qualifying ban is in a perfect position right now because he's not really that far behind Jonas.
No, not at all. It's going really well. I think if he could have scripted the start, that's probably just about how it would have gone. Because he's going to be quicker at the end of this race. He's going to have a better chance. There's no doubt to close in on that top pack. But now Ronha, he's right where he wants to be after the grid penalty as well. He's in P2 at this point. Maybe got a lap or two more on these tyres. But he's going to be out threat from an undercut from a couple of drivers. He was sort of closer to the back of the train that Alfie had just attached himself from after that. And so who was that going wide? Was that Burap's going off the track completely there?
Burap's going wide at turn 8, just like his teammate did a few laps ago, and he's really struggling to keep the car in motion. And maybe this is a failing on the Haas point, because they're both struggling on those tyres, it seems. But they're both still out on track. Should have one of them gone on into the pits in the last lap. Struggle.
I think very much so. I mean, I don't know whether it was planned that one of or whether they do plan it. I think preferably one of them would have gone in last lap and then the second one this lap. Because it does now mean, obviously Logic's fine no matter what he does here. He's not going to be delayed. But Buraps, he's not going to come in and pit behind Logic because he's going to lose quite a few seconds because obviously the big delay between double stacking that exists for some reason.
So...
And again, actually, no, they do come in now. Logic does come into the pits. So, yeah, that does just mean perhaps now he's going to suffer for a lap.
Yeah, he's definitely going to suffer. And, well, he does mean he's going to lead the race for a short period of time. It just depends how quickly Sparks dispatches of the Haas driver. He might be able to hold him up a little bit and pull LCR Leopard into the fray. And that's exactly what Leopard will want. But let's have a look. Oh, look at the back end there of Buraps. It's not happy at all. And Sparks is going to go around the outside of turn 6. Surely that is a cracking move. Has he got the traction to keep going? He's definitely going to keep it. And that's Sparks into the lead of the Grand Prix. And we weren't thinking that at the start of this race. We were going to be wondering that he was going to be stuck behind drivers for a little while. Barrap's really struggling on those tyres. And we think the Hasses have made a big, big boo-boo on their strategy call.
Yeah, I think that's very much sugarcoating it at the moment because Buraps has just got no grip at all. You don't tend to see, obviously, Buraps had a slightly narrower line, so he couldn't take the ideal racing line through the corner, as he had to leave space on the outside. But still, to see that much pace difference, simply for the most part from the grip, Buraps has really struggled out there. Look, the gap's already extended to about 1.3 already. So. Yeah, I think that's not gone quite to plan for Haas. I think one of them would have wanted to go in a lap before, I think.
I think maybe Logic had the best pit stop there possible. Yeah. But yeah, will Buraps pit this time? He does. Darting, well, I say darting. Oh, and Leopard having a little bit of a wiggle there, and that is going to put Reese into a really good position. Matthew Reese up into turn 1. Will he do anything on the Red Bull? He thinks better of it, actually. I think that was a bit too far back, and I was a little bit over optimistic for him as Shadow then fastest man. Now, a lot of these drivers are going on to the hards when they go into the pits. I thought this would be a better two-stop strategy here, as that is Tribion losing it at turn 2 and getting back just behind his teammate, so he's not going to lose too much space. But Shadow is absolutely rapid at the moment.
It's interesting you mention the two-stop race because I think by the looks of it, most drivers are going to be forced into a two-stop because we're seeing in the chat that there is rain at the end of the race. So I think we could be seeing another round of pit stops from most of these drivers. Obviously, it's a bunch, all of the top 6 at the moment, at least having not come in to stop. But potentially that's why we saw quite a few drivers on the hard tyres. Are they going to try to take it until that rain begins to fall? And if the heavens open just enough, maybe get a free pit stop out of it.
Might do indeed. It's either going to work in Shadow's favour beautifully because he's going to have so much more pace, or it's not going to work at all. Here's Wilson on Matthew Reese. Matthew Reese has dropped off Leopard quite quickly. Will either of the McLarens make a move into the hairpin? They're both thinking better off it. But both Viper and Wilson, are looking to attack now and are a little bit maybe fed up of being stuck behind the Mercedes.
Hang on, I was looking at the wrong stream. I was lying. Ignore the rain thing. That's what happens when you have to swap all of your tabs out because the game doesn't work. Ignore the rain thing. That was completely wrong. Sorry about that.
Awesome. Right, no worries. No rain. So one stops these guys thinking is a better one as Ronhar goes quicker. He's still a little bit of time away from Shadow. That's the guy he has to beat. And Shadow has to make sure he gets past Jonas quick. That's the big battle we'll have to keep an eye out in a minute, as Jonas is only 1.6 seconds ahead of Shadow, as Matthew Rees is really struggling with the back end. We saw it with the Hassers a few laps ago, that if you start losing that back end, you start becoming a sitting duck. And this is where the likes of Leopard and Viper are going to come into their own on those hard compound tyres. But they're only 9 seconds. Well, Viper is only about 9 seconds ahead of Jonas, who's already pitted.
Yep, and like I say about the grip, it's obviously a massive thing here because the tyres do go, and once they fall off the cliff, they really do, because there's a lot of very high traction corners here. So, effectively, if you're losing any of the rear grip at all, you are in for a bit of hell, because at the end of all of those lovely long sweeping corners, you tend to have a long straight as well. So if you don't get a great exit, you can say goodbye to that position. It's not Monaco. You cannot defend on those harder tyres.
No, not at all, or even the weaker, softer tyres if you're going for a weird strategy. But we'll have to wait and see as Logic gets past Tribion for P12. As this battle for P3 is still, well, technically the battle for P2. Sparks is doing a good job of just keeping the battle at the moment. So Luca picks up a 3-second time penalty for multiple warnings. Let's go on board with Jonas, as he's got himself into a big position here, as he's chasing down a medium runner on those really fresh, hard compound tyres. He's going to be the optimum tyre at the moment between these two drivers, as Alfie gets past Tribion as well. Tribion's not having the best of days at all.
No, not the best day in the office for himself at the moment, that is saying the least. Obviously still yet to make that pit stop, as well as being down there in P14 with Mulder's AI as well. I'm not sure if Mulder's actually got into race yet. I assume it's still his AI. But yes, it could go a lot better. I don't think there's much you can add to that. He'll be hoping to bounce back. I don't think there's much redemption without a very well-timed safety car here for Trivian. So yeah, look, we're seeing now Jonas trying to put a little bit of pressure on Luca ahead of him on those medium tyres. We are at the stage where the medium runners at the start, the tyre delta between the medium and the hard, it's been decreasing lap by lap by lap, and I think we're now at the stage where it could be near the crossover, because Jonas on much fresher hard tyres, it's looking like he's going to be able to get the move done here. He's going to have DRS. He is not even using ERS at the moment, which is interesting to see. He doesn't even feel the need to use it, because he knows he can breeze up and get the move done. Under braking, and he's got the grip, and there's no chance of a cutback for Luca. He just simply does not have the grip.
You could see through that lap, Luca was really struggling through every point of the corner where Jonas wasn't at all. This just strategy in general there was brilliant for Jonas, and up the inside, Shadow is not holding back. He wants Jonas as quickly as possible. It's a great move from the Alfa Romeo driver, and now he's got Jonas next in his sights, and there's going to be a few laps when Shadow is definitely going to be the quicker driver, not if he does that to his back tyres there. Those were going to really heat up. Let's go to the battle for P3. As Matthew Rees still holding on at the moment with the battle to the two McLarens behind him. I don't think he's going to be able to mount an attack on LCR Leopard.
I think Viper's looking in a really good position here now, because he is pushing his teammate, his partner McLaren, through the corners at the moment, because he's on those hard tyres. His tyres are in a much better condition at the moment. He could get the move done, potentially now going into the hairpin, because he's going to have better grip. Only issue for him will be that, of course, Wilson is also getting DRS, but Viper is closest. He's got a better slipstream, and Nico's left the session, of course. That doesn't seem to bode too well. I think that's him very much gone. But the Viper thought about giving it the move. And then the DRS for Wilson worked so well. He was able to close to Matthew Rees, but not quite get the move done for now. But I think it's only a matter of time before those two do eventually fall to Viper.
Yeah, I'm wondering if Wilson might be better off here, just dropping his position to Viper and following Viper through Rees. I think Viper's definitely got the overall pace, but let's go on board with Viper and see how he takes the first couple of, sector 1 and 2 compared to the drivers ahead. Matthew Rees is really struggling. Wilson not so much ahead. He's still got the traction, but he's a lot closer to Wilson than we've ever seen him. To Matthew Rees than we've seen him so far. Tribion getting a penalty, and Wilson nearly losing the back end, as is Viper. Both losing out at turn 6 there, And that is not what you want to see at all from both drivers, as we lose Tribion in the pit lane. He's had enough for the night. He's not had the best of races, unfortunately. That is unfortunate for him. Alfie trying to get past Logic. Those two back at it again after Alfie's problems earlier on. But, I mean, if you were Wilson, would you let your teammate through to have a crack?
That's a difficult one. I think at this point, not necessarily because I'm playing the team game. I think more because I would say I have a better chance of then overtaking Matthew Rees because of it, because you do have the opportunity here. A lot of the moves are done down the inside, not many moves around the outside, so you know the driver that's being overtaken is probably going to be pushed out wide, and this could be fairly simple now for Viper under braking down into the hairpin, and he's got the move done, and again, no chance of a cutback at all. And Jonas and Shadow going side by side. Shadow getting up ahead of Jonas as well, so that's those medium tyres working quite well.
Yeah, Viper had to make the move stick, and his teammate pops into the pits anyway. Now he's 2.4 seconds behind Leopard as drivers are darting in for their first from the medium runs. And I wonder what those medium runners will do, whether they go onto mediums or if they go onto softs. We'll have to wait and see. Let's see how Jonas responds to Shadow. This is the big one. What can the Aston Martin do? Obviously having that little bit of a hand at the start, but now he's behind the effective race leader.
Yeah, at the moment, it's interesting though. Yeah, it's because I think Sparks' tyres starting to drop off because Leopard is able to start closing in. So we should see a battle for the actual race lead, not the net race lead, but for P1 and P2 on track fairly shortly. Sparks, it'll be interesting to see where he does come out in the end. It's likely to be, I'd say, around Logic Alfie region, I think. Somewhere, yeah, I think roughly there. I try to eyeball it. So yeah, that'll be interesting to see is how quickly he'll be able to get through the grid, because he made pretty light work of it at the start of the race. Let's see if he would be able to do it again. But look at how much grip Ronhar's got now compared to Square, and he's going to have a slipstream, he's going to have the DRS, and Square has no hint of a slipstream. It's over 2 seconds to the car ahead, so Square's has got to deal with the speed that he has, any ERS that he has left, but is it futile? It seems to be, as Ronhar, he thought about going back to the left-hand side of the track, maybe fought against it, as that arrow might still have been a little bit red, but Ronhard does eventually pull back onto the racing line under braking, and he gets a move done on a driver who is second in the championship. Technically, he's two championship rivals at the moment.
Yeah, I think that was a little bit of an angry weave, because there was a tiny bit of a weave from Square. Or it could have just been a hello weave. We don't know from the two of them. It could just be
he was celebrating the overtake. That was it.
Celebrating the fact that he's taken his championship rival. Leopard now nearly within a second of Sparks at the front of this. WR Connor is looking like he's going to try and get Square, and just 3 seconds back is Logic and Alfie, who, well, Alfie was battling Connor earlier on, so it's a shame to see him a little bit further back, but I guess it is what it is at the end of the day. Leopard now dropping himself into DRS range of Sparks, as the actual race leader could come under threat from second place, as Shadow is pulling away from Jonas a little bit as well. So those medium compound tyres still working to perfection for the Alfa Romeo driver, but he's still got a long way to go if he's going to try and push those to the end, or his two-stop strategy has got to be absolutely dead on. But there's nothing for LCR Leopard just yet, just too far behind the Alfa Romeo driver, and that's not going to help him with the back end sliding out like that. But Viper's still 2.3 seconds behind this.
Yeah, and I don't think Viper's going to be able to close in too much unless this battling does get a little bit more intense, or Leopard starts losing a lot of time, which we very well could see if Sparks hangs out another lap or two. I think from what we've seen so far, Shadow's maybe got 3 or 4 laps of being quicker than Jonas. So Shadow's got to build out a pretty decent gap here, because those mediums we've seen, once they start to drop off, your pace is not great at all. I mean, look, Square's already now, just holding on to DRS behind Ronhar, but not able to put on too much pressure for now. Actually, I think that's just coming through a traction zone. He's lost 3/10 looking at the map, so I think he's starting to struggle just a little bit more and could drop out of DRS this lap.
Yeah, so that is what we're looking at. Maybe 6 laps for Shadow to build a little bit of a gap, but also in that time, Jonas's hards will obviously hit their peak, but then start degrading. So he's got to make sure he doesn't push his tyres too much there, and it's going to be a great concertina effect that we've got here in China if Shadow is on the two-stop strategy. Leopard then coming round the turn 13, and surely Sparks is a sitting duck this time round as they come down this incredibly long back straight. And yeah, look at the overspeed that the Red Bull driver has, and up the inside, and Leopard takes the effective lead of this Grand Prix, but Viper is actually catching this battle. They're now only 2 seconds between them.
Yeah, Viper just trying to pick up the pace a little bit, trying to apply a bit of pressure. Here we go, coming into the pit lane on the hard tyres before the medium runner of Sparks ahead. That's an interesting call, and it's the exact same story from Viper as well.
So they are seeing...
Going on mediums, I assume.
Yeah, they're seeing the effect Spark has. Spark has done an incredible job on those medium compound tyres. Maybe, I think this is a very, very long shot. I don't think this is actually going to be it at all. That Shadow is going to get to Sparks and Spark is going to hold Jonas up. That is not going to happen. Ignore that thought. Matthew Rees retiring from the session in the pit lane. He's sped in there and now he's out. I hope everything's all right on his side, but that is our 4th retirement today. I don't think we can class molded racing either, so technically maybe our 5th. But I hope everything's all right on Matthew Rees' side. Let's go on board with Square as he's still desperately hanging on to Ronha in P4. Those medium compound tyres look absolutely dead.
Yeah, they've really hit the cliff. It's quite surprising to see, actually. We don't see the drivers struggling this much with the tyres ever, really. It does seem to be that obviously it isn't helped by the fact that already the drivers are running very low downforce setups. So, you know, even when they're on the softs in qualifying, it looks like they don't have much grip. So it's only exacerbated by the fact that they're on very high wear now. They'll be able to run it a little bit longer, but it just looks like the pace isn't quite there anymore. And I mean, look, Jonas now, he's not losing as much time as he was. I mean, he lost like a 4-second, 3-second lead originally. So, you know, Shadow was at one point massively quicker. Now he's potentially not even going to pull out the 2-second, 2.5-second range.
And still, Sparks and Square deciding that the mediums are still for them. Square is really struggling. Connor nearly clipped the back end at the hairpin, and look how close he gets to the back end of that Alpha Tauri, and it's like it's kissing it through every corner.
Yeah, just a gentle nudge going, come on, I'm trying to get past here. But yeah, obviously what Sparks and Square are going for here is the medium soft strategy, which isn't possible if you start on the softs, because the tyres are going to be absolutely shot by the end of the race because you use up a higher percentage in qualifying, obviously. But it does also mean that basically they're going to be absolutely rapid at the end of the race. So we should see a couple of really good overtakes as they do go onto that soft compound tyre. I think we're looking at probably 2, 3, 4 more laps for the medium runners before they come into the pit lane. Maybe a little bit less, about 2 or 3. So yeah, it'll be interesting when they come into the pit lane just how quickly they will be able to pass or close and then pass, hopefully, on the drivers in front of him. But look, Connor's got a lot more grip than Square. Square's been struggling the last couple of laps after he's dropped out from DRS from Ronha. He's lost a couple of attempts a lap here, as you would expect. And Connor in the Williams going side by side now. Is he going to get the move done? He absolutely is. That is, yeah, a good move down into the heavens. So, yeah, not a bad move at all.
Fantastic move there as Viper then making a move on Clenzo before basically just as the DRS zone activated at all. Massively outbroke himself was Logic there and nearly caught Viper and Clenzo out. So that's an interesting one. Square, let's go back up to him as he's still following Connor around quite closely, but he's definitely not got the grip now as Leopard gets the fastest lap of the race, and we saw him dispatch Burraps earlier on as well in fantastic, phenomenal fashion through turns 1 and 2. Just like the champion he is, Leopard is absolutely phenomenal at them, and it's good to see him back in this confident form as well. He's going to be rapid towards the end. Viper gaining time, sorry. Let's have a little look at the battle for the current final point scoring position as Sparks and Square still to pit. That's the big one. How are they going to... I know you're thinking lap 20, aren't you? Lap 2021 for them to pit. So that's going to be an interesting one. But will this put them out in position of the likes of Viper, Burraps and Logic, which might cause them problems? It might cause Square more problems than it's going to cause Sparks, I think.
Oh, yeah. No, Square's in a slightly perilous position with it because he's about... he's over 10 seconds behind wherever Sparks is going to come out anyway. So I think Square's going to be probably around Wilson area, probably behind. He'll be obviously ahead of the AI of Nico and Mulder. But he's going to be a lot quicker. And here we go. Viper giving the move on Logic using the fresh medium tyres. He's just strapped onto his car now. And look how much he just extends his gap under braking, actually. It looks like Logic gave it a little go there, obviously. Not for the position, but just trying to keep as close as he can. As Sparks does come into the pit lane. There we go. Finally, we see the race leader come into the pits for the soft tyres. Let's see where he comes out. Should be probably just behind Viper, I'd think. Yeah, it'll be just behind Viper and Logic.
See him on board. It's side by side with Clenzo. That was a squeaky bum moment, if I might say so myself, as they battle it out through turn one. No collisions here, though. It's not Max Verstappen and Lewis Hamilton after all. So nice little dice there. And Square deciding that he's going to stay in while he's got the DRS on WR Connor. But look at Sparks already on the back of Logic. That's incredible pace and consistent. Oh, surely not. Wow. Surely not by Sparks. What a move. Absolutely incredible. Caught Logic napping and he's up. And that is a horrible camera angle I was given for such an amazing move by Sparks.
More Larry than I think it was on Sparks' end. That was a perfect example of how much more grip he's got out there. But look how he's already closed right onto the back of Viper. He's going to be past Viper and Burraps by the end of the lap nearly.
And just ahead of him is LCR Leopard as well. Let's go on board on Sparks' point of view. Viper's obviously got the overspeed and the DRS on Burraps. But will we see free wide? Burraps trying to nick it back off of Viper. But I don't think it's going to be enough. Surely not around the outside from Sparks. Yep. He's going to do it. Is he going to succeed? He's got surely the traction with those fresh tyres. And Sparks has brought this race back to life. I mean, it wasn't dead anyway. But Sparks has sparked it up.
Yeah, that was absolutely brilliant. Yeah, he did the exact right thing. He knows he has more grip. He can take the outside line. Absolutely no issue whatsoever. Look at the front end grip he has. He can just hug that curb, minimizing the distance, getting right on the inside of Viper, and Viper can literally do absolutely nothing. He can just watch that Alfa Romeo fly down his inside, and he just has to grin and bear it for the moment because he's still got a job ahead of him. He has Leopard ahead of him and then the hard runners, so it's not race over for Viper, but I think for Sparks' side here, he is just getting going.
Yeah, Sparks has just been absolutely phenomenal so far, and that long stint is coming back to save him now. What can he do? Where will he finish? Chat, let us know. Obviously, there's still plenty of racing to go, but he's purple in Sector 1, purple in Sector 2. Can he get a fastest lap and a win here at WOR? It might be a bit asked.
It might be a challenge, but the fastest lap is definitely coming his way.
Let's look on Sparks' point of view as he looks at Leopard as Alfie trying to defend valiantly and maybe a little bit too many moves, but Leopard up the inside and taking P5 away from the Alpine, but a switchback is possible for Alfie as he gives it a go, but it's just not possible. And now it hasn't taken Sparks long. He's right there.
Yeah, already. Let's see if you can see a repeat of what he did on Viper into turns 1 and 2. It's not going to be that difficult, I don't think. Of course, he's fighting up against some fairly old, hard tyres here. Look at that Alfie, very well defending the inside line. He does run a little bit wider because, again, he doesn't quite have the front end grip. And that's a little bit Larry for Sparks. His car's still, he's still pointing the right way. There's a couple of frames there where I thought that could have gone a little bit wrong. But he does get the move done, and he moves himself up into P6, and now he has his eyes forward on, what's that, the Red Bull of Leopard, right in front of him already.
Jonas has lost
out as well.
Jonas has lost a lot of time to Shadow. That's gone from 2 seconds to 2 point something seconds to 3.5. So Jonas struggling a little bit, and Ronha is right on that Aston Martin, and Ronha is looking like he's going to extend his championship lead maybe just that little bit more today. Well, we'll have to see if Spark has anything to say about it just yet, because this man is now hunting down LCR Leopard, and then he's got 3 seconds to WR Connor. But let's go on board with the Alfa Romeo driver. What can Sparks do? I don't think Leopard has any sort of defence to this, because the overspeed is going to be huge on the Alfa Romeo and through up into the inside, and it's a pretty poor angle they've given me there. But darts back onto the racing line, and Leopard I think Leopard smartly just let that happen as Viper gets past Burraps just behind as well.
Yeah, Leopard, very wise driver. He often doesn't, he doesn't get wrong with something he doesn't need to. If he knows that position's going to go, just lose as little time as you can in the process. And now Sparks, obviously his tyres they're not going to be dropping off yet. He's only on his 3rd lap with them. But it's, he's got through the best of them so far. It's only downhill from here. And it just really depends if by the end of the race he can keep up, and Leopard, if he can, obviously minus his penalty, we're talking about on track here, if Leopard can stay close enough, it's maybe an inkling of a chance of getting the position back. But I think it would be quite an ask. But let's see now how quickly Sparks can close in on Connor, because of course Connor, Jonas and Ronhar here on those very worn hard tyres.
We've missed Jonas losing the position to Ronhar as well. This battle that Sparks is giving us and is definitely caught our eye a little bit, maybe a little bit too much, but Sparks is already very, very nearly within a second of Connor, and he's bringing Leopard along. Leopard is doing this perfectly and keep trying his best to keep within that 1 second margin, and he will be back up to Connor very, very soon. Let's go on board with Jonas and see what actually happened. Obviously we can't see what happened, but see if there is any damage to his car, which is indicating why he's a little bit slower than he was earlier on. There's no damages, but the back end sticks out a little bit there. The Sparks not really troubled by Leopard through that, and Viper's past Burraps, as we said earlier on, is now pulling a little bit of a gap to the Haas driver as penalties are starting to come through.
Yeah, they are now. We're starting to get a couple just trickling through. Jonas pick one up, of course. Yeah, that's not great for Jonas. That 3 second advantage he had at the start, I think he's just lost it. But yeah, Shadow now, it's going to be difficult because Ronhart, obviously, incredibly quick driver in the first place. And at this stage in the race, he will be on those quicker tyres. Sparks has closed in massively. I think he could get the move done on Connor any moment now. I think he just tried it round the outside. I'm not quite sure where he actually ended up there. I think he might have been going round the outside. Or Connor turned in very aggressively.
That was very, very weird camera angles. I didn't really know where to go with that. I just thought better do that just in case it went wrong. That Sparks
it might be an alpha bypass at some point.
Sparks is still pushing on here, and he's doing a really, really good job as I'm just checking to make sure there was no issues in the chat. As look at Sparks all over the back of Connor. Connor's losing ground to Jonas a little bit as well. He could very well lose 2 positions here. Sparks, come on, give me a better camera angles of that. Sparks then up the inside as we see. Oh, look at Leopard trying to make up move as well. Oh, these two are going to be at it, I think, to the end of the race. I think Leopard has got this now, and he's going to fight Sparks to the end. I'm looking forward to how this one is going to break down. 4.1 seconds to Jonas then, as Jonas has somehow come back to life compared to Ronhar. And will Leopard do anything on Sparks? Not just yet. He's going to stick behind him and see where the mistakes and see where he can pick apart the Alfa Romeo driver as they come through Sector 1 and into Sector 2. I hate it when there's no cars on track for just a split second and you think there's contact and you've missed it. We haven't. There's no contact at all. Viper managing to catch up with Alfie as well. So Viper's showing a little bit of pace in P8 at the moment and catching these hard compound runners. And I think it's those medium compound runners that are going to be fine. But we haven't spoken about him for a long, long time. It's now lap 24. And Shadow is still leading the race on 17 lap-old medium compound tyres.
It's not a bad job, is it? Yeah, he's going pretty well here. And he seems to, at the moment, have the pace advantage. Well, not pace advantage, but he's there or thereabouts. It's about an equal delta at the moment. And yeah, this is a weird situation for Sparks. He is a little bit quicker than Jonas, so you know the P3 is potentially there. But by the end of the race, I do think potentially Jonas could be even quicker than Sparks is on raw pace with the of course with the tyre advantage that he could end up having, especially around lap 27, 28ish. Oh, there's a move for Viper on Alfie as well. But yeah, where I was going with that, Sparks is effectively racing Connor here. That is his main battle because Leopard, he'll probably get ahead, but pulling a 3-second gap in the last four laps now for them is going to be a really hard ask unless Sparks' tyres really do hit the cliff here. So I think for Leopard, if he can get past right now and then puts in some absolutely stellar lap times, it's potential that he could be ahead of Sparks, but I do find that quite unlikely. Sparks, yeah, he's not seems to be closing in on Jonas at the moment, so I think could be around the crossover point already on their pace. So yeah, it's Connor behind that he's got to look for. He does have the advantage that Connor is on older, even than Jonas, hard tyres.
Yeah, I think Connor's, as much as I'd love him to be a little bit higher up and fighting for it, I think his tyres are just too gone at this stage. You just wonder if any of them are now thinking that maybe a 2-stop would have been a better idea. No one's really done it. I was certain Shadow was going to do it, but he's still 3.2 seconds in front. Jonas hounding Ronhar, but it's looking like it's too little too late. It's just behind is LCR Leopard. Let's go on board with that because that is a really small delta between the two of it. It's 0.3 of a second. Will Leopard Sparks is side to side, and I think he knows the position's gone, and Leopard is back up there, and maybe Sparks is going to just push him around the corner a little bit, but Sparks now, he just needs to play it smart and just sit behind Leopard and follow it through. There's a yellow flag, and that isn't Viper, is it?
It could well be. I think that was a small mistake from Viper. Losing it on the exit.
Not what you would have wanted at all for if your name is Viper. He's just felt a little bit of a sting through the hairpin there. As Sparks is still following Leopard, who is in good sense at the moment. I don't think he's going to make a move. And I think as a racing driver, I know you want to always finish ahead of the driver ahead. But yeah, sometimes you have to play it smart and look at the penalties. I know we didn't see that at Bahrain.
Yeah. Yeah, we saw quite aggressive racing despite penalties coming towards the end of the race. Look, Sparks is losing his grip now. That's not ideal through turns 9 10, losing grip there already. I did think 2021 would be a better time to pit, or lap 2021, not the year. Obviously, I hope he did pit sometime in this year. But yeah, I thought that might be a little bit better. It does look like he might have gone a lap or two too early because he just doesn't have the rear grip anymore through the traction zone. So now he's got to keep his eyes on Connor, who doesn't as of yet have DRS on the Alfa Romeo driver. And look, he's thinking of giving the move, but I really don't. It's going to take that too seriously at the moment, and that could have been his last chance.
So Shadow starting his penultimate lap. I'm going to give him a little bit of stream time, whatever you want to call it. He has done a phenomenal job keeping these tyres in, as good a condition as he's done.
Pretty good condition.
Ronhar 2.4 seconds, so the gap is slowly creeping down, and it is possible that these two will concertina into the final lap. But at the moment, it's just a wonderful job by Shadow, and I don't want to go on him too long because I have been known for commentator cursing. So let's go back to Shadow and LCR Leopard as Sparks, his teammate, as they battle continually through this race. And I said it when Sparks attacked Leopard the first time. I think this is going to the end, and I still, even with the degrading tyres, I think Sparks has got enough pace on him to battle it through with Leopard.
Yeah, potentially, if he can be close enough through the snail section now coming onto the back straight. We'll have to see. It'll be interesting as well because this could be a pretty close one. Let's see if he does have the traction as he comes through now. The long right-hander. It looks like he's there or thereabouts. This could be fairly close. He's within half a second, which tends to be the range. He's using his ERS. Does he potentially have an advantage there? Because he's been behind for a lap or two now. This could be fairly simple. He pulls to the inside line. He can just about brake later and hold the line, but trying the cutback is Leopard, but he can't quite get it this time. So now Leopard, he's going to try on the final lap. This maybe isn't the best position to be for Sparks, because he's got Leopard behind him coming onto the back straight for the final lap. So I think despite that, actually, Leopard's going for it now. That's interesting. That's a strategical choice that I'm not 100% sure of, but he's got the penalty anyway. I think he's more trying to pull a gap on Connor at this point.
I think that could very well be the Leopard's idea, and also the ERS between the two of them is very much in Leopard's hands. As Shadow rounds the second sector, he's now only, his lead is 1.5 seconds to Ronha. He's really nursing those tyres. It is absolutely crazy at the moment, and I don't really want to lose this battle because Sparks has been known to make some incredible moves this race, and at the moment he's just behind. And I don't think Shadow is going to lose out. Let's go on board with that. Let's see Shadow. It's 1.4 at the moment to this man, Ronha, the championship leader, is doing everything he can to reel in the speedy Shadow of Alfa Romeo, but it's just not happening at the moment. I think it's going to be Shadow. Let's drop back to Sparks as he darts down again for the last time.
Wow, that's much quicker. Is that a mistake from Leopard somewhere? Surely. That is so much quicker.
Let's see how it all pans out. He darts back across, and I think that's position fully now. I know the penalty was always going to go for him, but let's go on board with Shadow as he wins the Chinese Grand Prix in phenomenal fashion. Ronha in second, Jonas crossing the line in third. Sparks will get my driver of the day as he crashes across the line, takes the podium away from Jonas. WR Connor in fifth. Sixth is Leopard. Viper will cross the line after that mistake in seventh. Alfie in eighth. There's what is going on that.
Graveyard of cars at the exit.
Wilson will take the final point scoring position, and my God, that's not the end of a race.
Yeah, we don't need to use these cars next week. It's all right. We can total them. No, but that was brilliant race from Shadow, and to avoid a puncture at the end, he's done a really good job there. And that is very much a well-deserved win, even though Jonas had a little bit of an advantage there. Is that disqualification, or is that just is that disqualification at the end?
I don't know. This end of the race has been absolutely weird. I don't know what's going on. But what a race. What a phenomenal race we've experienced at China for WOR. And, I mean, two Alfa Romeos on the podium. Shadow and Sparks. Sparks we never really gave us a thought of at the start of the race. But Shadow, what a strategy from him.
Oh, yeah.
And
to make
Ronha,
it to the end, that's ridiculous.
Yeah, and Ronha as well. I'll do a quick rundown. We'll have a chat about who's what. And if we can get the podium runners into here, that would be great as well. But it's Shadow who takes victory. Started first, got caught off by Jonas's host switch, or whatever you want to call it. I'm only joking. Ronha in second place. Third place is Sparks. Jonas in fourth. WR Connor then in fifth place, with LCR Leopard with that penalty dropping to sixth. Viper in the McLaren for seventh place. VRT Alpha in eighth. Ninth to Buraps and 10th to Wilson. Then Square and Logic finishing the actual finishers, I think, and then non-finishing going to WR Nico, LCR Mulder, Clenzo, Matthew Reitz, Gilu Luca, VRT Tribion, and Dark Killer through that. Lost for words at how incredible that end of that race is, and Sparks getting a 132, 2 seconds quicker than anyone else around him. I think Leopard was the next quickest. That was what a race.
No, it was brilliant. And yeah, Shadow is saying in the chat now he was tyre saving all race, and he would have needed to go that long on the medium tyres. It was at the stage where it was such a hard ask that we were going, oh no, he's got a 2-stop when he came into the pits. We go, he's going to be back in again surely. No, he's absolutely gone for it, and massively fair play to him. Whereas everyone else tried those hard tyres, he was not put off one bit by the mediums and embraced it and was able to win just about on Ronha. I think if there was another lap, he wouldn't have got it. So he's timed that absolutely perfectly and saved just to perfection.
It's exactly what he would have wanted. One more lap, like you say. Ronha had the victory, but driver of the day. Let's talk about that. I mean, that was a there's a few drivers there for me. Shadow for that just tyre saving. Sparks with what was an incredible race from him as well. Those two stick to my mind at the moment. And Leopard and Viper as well. Some great racing from them. I'm not sure about yourself.
No, I think straight off the bat, Shadow, P1 on the grid, one stop, first place. That doesn't tell the full story. He's remarkable tyre-saving job. Whereas Sparks is a little bit more clear. Actually, he took the mediums a really long way in the first place. That's something else that you mentioned. He managed a one stop, so he did a really good job there and held on to some fairly rapidly degrading soft tyres at the end of the race. To beat Leopard as well, obviously with penalties too. But he managed to do it without the penalties. That was... So it was incredibly impressive, but oh, no, not quite, but yeah, no, from Sparks, good podium from 18th on the grid with a quali ban to the podium. He will be very, very happy with that. And then Leopard and Viper as well. They both played the strategy really well, just bog standard, alternate strategy. They did a great job. So yeah, there's definitely quite a few shouts out there.
Yeah, it was definitely what we would have done, what would have wanted as a race, and. I mean, I'm going to give Sparks, especially after last week's problems as well. I think Sparks is going to be my driver of the day. I didn't see who the driver of the day for the game was. I didn't pop up for me, or if it did.
Yeah, I assume it would.
How about yourself? If you give one driver, just one driver. I know it's difficult.
I'm going to say Shadow because it was genuinely really impressive to go that far on the tyres and still manage to keep the lead. A lot of drivers maybe would have lost a little bit more pace, made a couple of mistakes with like drifting, just running out wide somewhere, losing traction, a couple of mistakes, but he had none of that. Did a really, really solid job, made the tyres last and got a well-deserved win.
Well, before I go through the plugs, guys, don't forget to give us a like and subscribe to this. If you have enjoyed the racing that we've seen tonight, we are here on multiple nights through the week. We've got some incredible racing on the Xbox tier side of things. You got Tier 2 tomorrow night with Dark Killer and Callum G as your commentators there. Don't forget Tier 8 on a Thursday with FRT Jish, who was in the comms box with me. So some great stuff there as well. I'm still waiting to see if anyone will pop through in the waiting room on Discord. No one yet. And don't forget the PC side of things. We've got the man himself, George Morgan, and Ginger Andy coming in on the PC side of things on Sunday at 8 o'clock. So some great racing, some really, really phenomenal drivers we have at WOR. Probably the best, if I don't mind say so myself, the best league racing tiers around at the moment. So don't forget to follow through and watch us all. Have you got? I don't think we're going to get anyone. So have you got any final words for us, Bradley?
I'd say, apart from a big thank you to all the drivers for putting on a brilliant race, and I know some of them had issues, and to the ones that did, it's like, I want to say it's okay. We all suffered with those from experience from the start, and yeah, also a quick apology to anyone if I was seeming a little bit distracted at times. What would normally be on 2 screens, because of the game not working, I had to end up looking at 4 separate screens when I was trying to commentate. So, yeah, if at any point I did slightly wander off of the main topic, that will be why. Yeah, trying to make sense of everything that I've got in front of me. But yeah, yeah, basically, big thank you to the drivers for putting on a great show, and a little bit more of that next time, please.
Absolutely phenomenal. So don't forget, we are back next Monday, and what a race. If it's anything like it has been tonight, we are in for an absolute cracker of a race. It is the Canadian Grand Prix, round 4, start of what I am hoping to be some of my favourite tracks coming through. Obviously, China's a good one as well, but it has been Shadow who's been your race victor today, and Ronha in 2nd place, and Sparks in 3rd, and that is your podium finishers. Unfortunately, we haven't got them in here, and we will hopefully get them all sorted for next time. But for now, here at WOR, we'll see you tomorrow night.